I have Jennifer with you, Dr. Erin Chapa from Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, and it's in the middle of a detox. The cleanse has started, and there's a lot of good information that's going to be spread today. So go ahead and share this out. Let us know what you got going on today. I'm going to kick this on the FM. Here we go. Bringing the branch to you. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it's 9:03. My name is Gardy. This is Kickstart, and I have some guests and friends from Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center here in studio. Jennifer with you. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. It's day 2 of the 21-day detox for me, so we're just kicking it, getting ready. It's fun. It's something new every year. Every year you try a little something new. So my goal this year is to make sure that I don't use any packaged foods. So how about that? So even though we allow a lot of things that might make it a little bit easier for people, like maybe siete chips, but for me this year, that's off the table. So each year
Does it mean like no hummus either?
No hummus. Oh, that's not so hard for me because I'm the one that doesn't abuse the hummus. I'm the one who doesn't like the hummus in the first place.
You don't think
like
it tastes
hummus?
like tastes like bean dip? It like brings like nostalgic memories.
No.
Yeah, do you remember?
Well,
Nostalgia, yeah.
There's a lot of nostalgia, but I guess maybe I never liked a lot of dips in the beginning, so maybe that's why.
I'm a dipper, so like I would love. That's something that I would like to see. But
Well, you could make your own, and then you still wouldn't be using packaged foods.
That's true, and then you could have a Vitamix, a food processor. I could definitely throw some chickpeas together and make my own.
Yeah, you could do that.
But I did. I was looking this morning. I was trying to see if chickpeas are even on my, where they fall on my list. And I'm still hunting because I was thinking I just realized I was looking in the wrong section. I was looking at it as a vegetable, but it's not. It's in the legume, I think, category. And but I think it's always interesting to look at and see how the detox will bring out different parts of you. Like I'm watching, my daughter went straight to cassava flour and making cassava tortillas. So we have a neighbor up the street that taught her how to make homemade tortillas, and so she made her own tortillas.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of that for our kiddos especially is that's clean food, right? So it may not meet the needs of somebody who wants to lose a lot of weight to do cassava flour tortillas made at home, but it will actually help especially our younger people to get through the detox.
Yeah, so I think that, detoxification, we were talking this past week, we've had a lot of sick people coming in, and is detox right when you're sick? And I said, well, of course. I mean, what better way? Take burden off the body, and the body then will perform neurologically better, immunologically better, digestively better. And so if you're improving all those functions, you could make the assessment that detoxification would be better. That's right. And so I'm glad everybody's paying attention. And so and we were talking at Saturday when we were getting ready for this detox class coming up this evening. We're very excited at Butlers Courtyard, 6:30 p.m. We hope and want you to be there. There's a great outreach experience that we're having. If you come to the next 3 events, we'll be donating for everybody that comes to the next 3 events. Everybody that's come to the 4 events, there's another donation promotion to Anchor Point's Hope House here in League City, Texas. So we're supporting local community outreach programs to support the youth and young ladies that have children that are going to basically be trained up to have new skills and new developments so that they can go out into the world with the next generation in hand and bless the socks off the community. And I'm just excited about being able to support them. But we were talking about, the people still freaking out about this illness because there's still illness roaming around, lurking in the shadows, coming up inside of our intimate circles and our family circles and our social circles and our church circles and every circle. And, is health about never getting sick? And the answer is
No.
No.
Like, big no.
It isn't just about not getting sick as a point of health. It is how your body
responds to that sickness.
That's right. And
how long is it going to take you to get over your sickness? How much work is it going to take? How sick are you actually going to get? So we want to give our bodies the tools so that we can get over sickness quickly. And I think we often forget that every pathway in the body is driven by nutrients, right? There's nothing that's driven by artificial sweeteners or medications. Nothing's driven that way. And sometimes it takes that to get people well. But we have to know the difference between our body asking for nutrients versus our body needing medical intervention. And I think sometimes we just go so quickly to that medical intervention because that's what we've learned. That's what we've been taught. And if we actually listen to what we call the check engine lights of the body, the check engine lights tell you, hey, what's going on? So, people laugh at us all the time because we're always asking people about what? Your favorite thing.
How their bowels run.
We're asking them about how their bowels run. We're always asking because that's one of the easiest
I always
ways
love
for
it
us
whenever
to
I
assess.
ask questions to girls. Yesterday, I asked this girl. I said she was late teen, going back to college, and she's been having migraines. And I said, well, where are you at? And really, I asked her a bunch of questions, and I said, where are you at in relationship to your cycle? Because sometimes migraines and hormone dysregulation can correlate. And sure enough, she's just finishing. And I'm like, are you the patient that, gets constipated on your cycle? Or are you the patient that, lets it ride and lets it flow and drops bombs and cleans house? And she goes, the latter. She didn't really want to answer, but she did. And or I'll ask
Nobody
another
wants
kid
to answer that question.
and they look at their spouse or they look at their mom and they go,
Is he for real?
what do I say to that?
I had a 10-year-old last week do the same thing to me. He just looked at me like, are you for real? Are you really talking about this?
Well, you're talking detox. We're definitely full bore into the process, and we know that people need to understand more about bowel habits, bowel function. Your bowels speak a lot to health. We know that 100% of everything that your body goes through in life, deals with, is going to be based on how healthy those bowels are functioning. That's absorption. That's detoxification. That's the elimination factor. That's the assimilation of new nutrient factor. I mean, there's so many things that the gut is up to and doing. And I would say that, even a lot of our aches and pains would be associated with our digestive stress.
Oh, absolutely. So many of those aches and pains and things that people think that they are destined to keep, and I'm going to have this forever because I'm old, right? Everybody's into this, using old as an excuse for everything that goes wrong in life. And so it's really not, though. It's basically our system. We've got this system that is constantly having to clean out, purge out old trash, anything that comes in, anything we breathe in, anything we ingest that we can't use. We call those toxins. It's a simple definition. A toxin being anything your body can't use. And all of your body's constantly filtering those things out and deciding, hey, I can't use this, so I need to eliminate it. Oh, I can use this, I need to put it into the system to be used. And if we can't eliminate well, we end up with a gunked up filter. And if our filter gets backed up, then we get symptoms. We get joint pain, we get aches, we get all of those things. So we want to encourage the body to filter those things out efficiently so that you can feel better and sleep better and live better and have more energy. And that's what we're all after.
I had I was on the way in and I was listening to this doctor talk about detox, and it was unfortunate because the only real, advice that she gave was, to stay off alcohol. But like alcohol is the only toxin out there, the only thing your body can't use. And when we sat down and talked about toxins the other day, we had a laundry list. If we just start at the top and we look at air pollution, that's something that your body has to deal with. And people go, well, the air really isn't that poor quality. Well, maybe, but it still is dealing with a layer of toxins on the regular. There's new stuff blowing in that your body has to process and filter. That becomes a burden. Some of that your body can use, some of that your body can't use. And if there's anything toxic in the air, your body has to, on the fast track, get that on the elimination pathway. But then we look at things that we put in our body in the form of fluid. Like, how many people are sucking down sodas? I was watching a documentary called That Sugar Film, just to kind of, I don't know, it had some cool music to it Jennifer really loved, and I had to go listen to it again. And so in the first 5 minutes, the guy does a quick scan of a grocery store, and he has a picture of the grocery store aisle, and it happened to be the liquids. So like the way he was looking down an aisle and it had all your 2-liter bottles of stuff. And there was all kinds of different neon-colored ones and brown ones and dark-colored ones and ones in cool, fancy bottles. And there was red ones and purple ones. And, I mean, every color under the sun. I mean, it looked like a bag of Skittles or something, you know. And then in the background, there was all the liquid refrigerated beverages that people consume. So this just happened to be a segment on, you know, liquid sugar. And he starts talking about a statistic and says, you know, that if we took everything off the shelf except true, real food, there would be only 20% or less left on the shelf because of so much enriched, adulterated, garbage, sugar-laden food. And his whole experiment was to not eat candy on the documentary. His experiment was he was just going to eat quote unquote healthy food that had hidden sugars every which way to Sunday. So I mean, and he was just demonstrating just in the form of drinks that people get, juice boxes, apple juice. So he took 4 apples, for example, and said, if I had these 4 apples, and if we had 4 apples each, how many would we realistically eat, assuming we're not on a gallbladder flush?
I'd probably eat 1 apple.
1, right? How many?
Yeah.
1.
Maybe 1.
So there's fiber.
I mean, how many times do you start that apple and you're like, by the end, you're
Save
like,
it.
No,
but then you
can't really save it. But you're just like, okay, I'm tired of chewing this thing, right?
Yeah, and there's fiber in there that helps kind of tell you when you're done. You don't need to finish it possibly, or definitely not going to do 4 of them. But then we, as man, we're so smart, we decide that we're going to build contraptions that will scrape out all the other values of it and just leave the fruit sugar. And then how many apples can we eat? 5, 6, you know? But we're really only getting 5 to 6 layers of fruit sugar without all the balancing factors that God intended for us to consume. And that that's a toxin. So his whole experiment was to just take and look at real food sourced things that are just laden with sugar that we deem, healthy. So I like what you're doing by having an intention with your detox is, this go round to not eat anything that's got a label on it. Is that what I heard you say?
That's the plan.
Yeah. So
we're 2 days in. So far,
so far so good. Well, actually, you're a day and 1 meal in. Hopefully,
I'm at least 1 meal in.
Yeah. So and I think that there's some wisdom in that, is it because it will train you to look for food differently. For me, I want to do all vegetables and maintain the workout level that I want to keep working out at, and see, what do I notice in respect to the body? Like how does my body respond? What does my in-body show? So I've got my in-body results from yesterday, day 1 of detox, and so I even made some notes on there. I just, for whatever reason, didn't sleep all that great 2 nights ago. Had a little tickle in my throat going to sleep and a little bit runny nose. Dropped some Congoplex in the middle of the night. Felt great yesterday, but felt great all day on my detox. I got home. My son goes, "Are you tired?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." He goes, "Awesome." And because sometimes after a long day,
he's gonna put you back on the detox. You're gonna be stuck on it.
I'm gonna be stuck on it.
Dad.
Yeah, you're not eating protein ever again.
Dad.
And I'm so, but I mean, what if that's the case? What if that's what I discover? Right? Maybe there's a season where I go into being a selective carnivoritarian.
You can do that, right? Last year, that was my detox. I actually went the full 21 days without protein. So without animal protein, not without protein. But so that each year, each time you do a detox, you need to play a new little game with yourself. You need to give yourself a new goal, something to reach. And so one of the things that is really important on a detox is that one of the things that you'll learn is that you'll learn to trust yourself. Right? By you making this commitment to yourself for 21 days and being able to stick with it. And my daughter yesterday, she started the detox with us, and she's done 4, so she's not a newbie to the detox world, and she's 14, and she said, I didn't really want to do this year. I was like, okay, well, you don't have to do it. And she asked me about a certain food, and she's like, "Is this okay on the detox?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She says, "Well, I was just, is this okay?" And I was like, "Well, it's probably okay for a kid." I don't even remember what it was. I was, "It's probably okay." And she goes, "Is it a cheat?" And I was like, "Well, it might be a cheat." And she's like, "I'm not cheating," right? She has confidence. She trusts herself she wants to make that commitment that she made to herself and stick with it for that 21 days, even though she didn't even really want to do it in the first place. But that commitment that we make to ourselves, how often do we set an alarm in the morning? This wouldn't be your problem. It might be somebody else. This is definitely not a Dr. Chapa problem. You set the alarm in the morning because you're going to get up and go work out. And then the alarm goes off and you're like, I need a little extra sleep, right? So you're not keeping that commitment to yourself. And day in and day out, you stop keeping that commitment to yourself till finally you're like, I don't believe I'm going to get up and work out, and you just don't even set the alarm anymore. So those commitments that we make to ourselves it's a trust factor that we can build in ourselves, a confidence that we can build just by doing a hard thing like the 21-day detox.
And I think that's one of the things that when you come to the class tonight, you're going to learn how valuable the community is, where we have new aspects to create accountability to help people get more in touch with finding those habits, maintaining those habits, holding themselves accountable to those habits. We've got detox coaches that are helping people go through the process, making sure that they can ask questions like, hey, is this a cheat? What do I do when I'm faced with this? My daughter had to experience this same thing this past weekend, and we had an opportunity to go spend some time with my mom, since we didn't get to spend time with her on Christmas, and we went out to eat before detox, and but she had already started her detox. So guess what happened? Everybody, ate food at the table that wasn't necessarily on her menu, and it was hard for her. And it would have been real easy for her to cheat, and real easy for her to, break stride. And it's okay. It's just a little cheat. And I'm like, well, no, it's not a little cheat. It's just what Jennifer was saying. It's a commitment to yourself. You said you wanted to do it. And so will one meal derail somebody?
It can.
It can.
I like that. I mean, the reality is it sure as heck can. I've seen one bite of cake derail somebody for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whoa. I mean, what does that mean? I mean, and people go, well, I don't want to be that sensitive to food. Well, going back to, I'm sorry, it's more than just alcohol that is creating toxins in your body. The processed food, if it's got a label, more than likely it's got toxins in it. We were looking at some vitamins yesterday with a patient, and when you looked at the vitamins, they look okay to the naked eye until you look in the ingredients, and there's like 17 biochemical words that I even stumble over, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what all that is, so I'm not exactly sure I would put that in my body. There's a lot of fillers, a lot of binders, a lot of excipients. There's a lot of things in there that might not be healthy. And so, that might be a toxin to you. And not to say that some of those things I do recognize, you might as well go suck on the rocks in the parking lot. That's about as good as the nutrients you're about to get, And so teaching her, in that moment, that we're not driven by the pleasure of the tongue. We're not going to be, sad or happy over food. We're going to be thankful for fuel, good fuel, nourishing fuel. And the detox helps in some respects just train us to walk past the donut enough times that you can do it, and you can do it often, because you're right. One bad meal, one cheat, one bite even can derail you. And you have to know that you signed up for the long haul. 10 days, 14 days, 21 days, whatever your goal was. We're on the 21-day ultimate detox program in this experience. But I've got some people like your daughter that kind of go, I'm not really in the mood to do that this year. Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't necessarily want to get up and go train every day. But, I was talking to my wife, and I said, I just don't want to have to work out as hard as I'm, working out every day to maintain stuff. And she goes, well, what do you want? I said, well, I like how I feel. I like how I look. I like how my body's shaped up. And I like being able to have energy to go do stuff and climb rocks if we go bouldering, or jump on the trampoline if we jump on the trampoline, or run a foot race against my kid. And she goes, well, you got to keep doing what you're doing.
Make your choice, right?
And I'm like, gosh, I hate when wisdom speaks back to me. You know what I mean?
Especially in the form of a wife. Golly,
that's right.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, well, the Bible's good, right? It says if a man falls, he's got a companion to lean on to pick him back up. So, but I mean, it's good to know that I think it's good to be able to assess that and say it's okay that you don't want to, but you're going to do it anyway because it's right. It's right for you. And, dude, there's a community. There's a tribe of people that are going through the process. It makes it so much more fun to go through the detox, doesn't it?
We had such a good time last week. And I think that's one of the things over the last couple of years that people have missed the most is community. And we had a great time last week. So we have these detox coaching groups, and all the coaches have they've named their groups. And so we have the Amazing Asparagus group. So isn't that awesome? Mm-hmm. And then we have the Adventurous Artichokes, the Radiant Radishes,
the Outstanding Okra,
the Sassy Squash, and just to make things a little different, turnips just rule. Mm-hmm. Turnips rule, right? So all these different groups. So anybody that comes to our meeting or reaches out to us can get plugged in with one of these groups, so that you have somebody to go through this detox with. Because sometimes, my first detox I did all by myself. I was the only one. It was August. I didn't even actually tell my friend here that I was doing a detox until I was a few days in, because wasn't sure how committed I was. And so you get through and you do it by yourself, and it's, how many times do you want to quit? But when you have a group that you're doing it with, some friends, or in this case, it's new friends, doing a detox with these new friends, we have new ideas, we're more creative, we're able to think of new ways to do things. And so that's one of the exciting things about this year's detox is these groups. And so I'm excited to see, because tonight we're going to have, the groups are going to be bringing recipes based on the vegetable mascot that they have chosen. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see what they can come up with creatively.
And in food is fuel. Food is medicine. And so we really strive to get people to eat more rich, nutrient-dense foods. And like you're going on the no processed food or no labeled foods as a source of fuel, I believe that you're going to find more energy. You're going to find more mental clarity. You're going to, if you had blood pressure challenges, you would see blood pressure challenges regulate out. If you saw airway issues, allergy issues, you would see an improvement in how your body, breathes during exercise, or lack of snoring at nighttime. You're going to see your skin improve. So if you had acne or eczema or rashes that, or just kind of the cradle cap dandruffy stuff, you're going to see that stuff go away. If you've got a lot of ear, nose, and throat stuff, even in the midst of all the gunk going around you, I believe you will find you won't get sick while you're doing detox, because you're opening up the bowels, you're opening up the liver to drain off more efficiently, more effectively, and your body's not going to let any of that stuff accumulate in the lymphatics. And the lymphatics aren't going to be burdened. They're actually going to, in fact, be improved upon, because they're going to get a break. It's a 21-day break from stress and stimulants that we normally biochemically put into our bodies. And people are putting garbage in on the regular, a lot more than they realize, even those with good intentions. And I think education. We constantly go back to what you can't have, but we also are encouraging you to see what you can have. There's a plethora of options to really rattle your taste buds. There's a plethora of new ideas to help, bolster and strengthen, what you're after in the form of good food and good nutrients. And I like, people that are coming and saying, man, I really didn't think I liked this particular food, but yet if I put those spices on there that you talked about, the onion powder and the garlic powder, you can take asparagus and actually make something kind of bland, which I kind of like raw asparagus myself, but if you put onion powder or garlic powder on it and dip it in some hummus, if that's what you're into, or put some lemon over the top of it, or guacamole as a dip, or all of a sudden now you've got a really cool meal, something that you can savor flavor and get some really good benefits from, in the form of, asparagus being so rich for the kidneys. That is a great kidney detoxifying food. Brussels sprouts being a good liver food. Beets being a good bile productive food to help regulate how your body manages fat consumption in the arteries and or fat breakdown in the digestive tract. I think it's just amazing to watch food be used as a fuel, as a medicine for our body, and then give that and see how your body starts to feel energized and vibrant even after just a few days on detox.
Absolutely. So, and when we think about all of the one of the things that people are always concerned about on the detox is whether or not they're going to be hungry, right? And so we actually use this little word that should help you know that you should not be hungry on a detox. The word is unlimited. You can have unlimited food. It's just what you're eating that's changing. So people aren't going to get hungry because they can have an unlimited supply of vegetables at the very beginning of the detox, the first 10 days, anything you want. And so one of the reasons we have so much trouble with vegetables is that we have this overdeveloped sweet tooth, and we don't like anything that doesn't have that sweetness to it. And so after the first few days of not getting the sweet constantly in, your taste buds will start to change and you'll be quite comfortable and quite happy with the vegetables.
Or I found, yesterday, just having a third of an avocado, just kind of plussed my meals. That little extra bonus fat helps stabilize, the blood sugar, and like putting a good solid log on a fire, it burned hot.
Yeah.
And I felt for several hours, and at one point I was like 3.5 hours in. I'm going, oh yeah, I should probably eat again. And so I wasn't hungry. And I think that is a sign that the body is using its resources effectively. And, when the body can do that, I think that we are starting to move in a direction that's a sign of good health, is when we're not necessarily always, ravenous looking for food. We're able to think through our day, work through our day, communicate through our day, and be a blessing in our day.
Dr. Chapa, I know y'all do the macro, the food program and coaching as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you're still trying to hit on your target stuff? I mean, because we talk about unlimited vegetables. Are you still trying to balance both of those?
Yeah, so I am trying to get my numbers up. I'm definitely not. It's harder, right? Because I'm learning. Without animal protein, it's just a change. So it's going to take me a week to balance out that stuff, and I'm taking it like in 3 and 4 day increments and seeing where my numbers look. And so my calories definitely dropped a little bit, because again, there's just not I would literally have to be eating all day, and that's one of the things I'm curious about on this journey is how my body responds. If I put enough of the right fuel in, I think I would be fine. Even though I wasn't hungry, that still might not be sufficient to, train as much as I'd like or train as hard as I'd like. So those are things I'm going to have to be taking inventory of and course correcting through the process, because I am looking at those gauges to see ooh, yeah, I'm way down.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And but at the end of the day, the body looks at nutrients. It doesn't look at it like a steak. And so I believe that my body will be able to, if I can put enough fuel sources in, that the body will still assimilate what I need. And I'm going to have to supplement some things, of course, and I do supplement some things. If people commented yesterday about my pill bag sitting next to one of my meals, and they go, I'll never complain about pills again. And I'm like, so I supplement well, and I feel like there's the balance, right? Like we don't live in a world where we can just live off the land like I'd like to. That'd be awesome, right? I live in 15-minute deltas a lot of times. So, I have to, really be strategic on how I put food into my day. And so I think there's a blessing in that. I can be relatable to people. I know it's hard to, eat well. That's why intermittent fasting has been such a popular thing, because people just rather what?
Not eat.
I had this one patient always joke around and say, can I just be on the air diet? What's that? where I just eat air all day. I just seem like my body does better on that. And if that's you, then you need to be a part of our MacroFix program. And when you come to the classes, if you come to 2 of our classes, in-house, sitting in chair, we'll give you access to a 30-day subscription on our MacroFix program. And you will learn more about how powerful food can be, because we recognize not everybody is on the same gradient scale that we are, and that's okay too. We want to meet you right where you're at. That's why we have these different coaches. That's why we have different programs, and we have people that help support you going through the detox experience, because as you're learning to eat real food, you're going to at first be a little overwhelmed. I don't know what that is at the store. You said what?
Hard to go pick a rutabaga out if you don't know what it looks like.
That's right. Yeah, and or what to do with an artichoke that looks prickly, and so there's you'll learn how those things work, and then we have supplements to incorporate. That's a new learning experience for people, and that's a re-experience for some people that kind of go, I really don't love taking pills every day, right? But we don't look at it like pills. What do we look at it like?
It's our dehydrated food in a bottle.
Food in a bottle.
That's all it is.
It's all it is. And so, a lot of people will take some of these things, and they'll dump it in, open up capsules and put it in bone broth. They'll put it in a soup, and because soups and bone broths are flavorful and savory already, then the supplements, because they're food, they will be savory and they'll dissolve right in as a natural, healthier spice option. So that's a way that you can get nutrients in through the program. Or we even have a whole pack program that's just all powdered up. All you got to do is drop it in a little almond milk, coconut milk, a little bit of water, or maybe some Greens 8000, and bon appetit. You got yourself, a loaded, nutritionally dense shake option so that you can maximize the liver's ability and need to detox all the stuff that it's been accumulating over the last 6 months, and allow your body to efficiently move forward in the form of amino acids, blood sugar stability, and blood cleansing. So I think there's just so much power in coming and giving the body a focused, attentive 21-day spell of change, of rest, of stimulant-free living. And so we want you to eat well. We want you to be educated well. We want you to see that your fat cells can swell up 7 times the size of normal. Therefore, they can deplete 7 times the size of normal. Who wants a little bit less fat around the middle? That's another, one of the neat things that this guy learned in his journey through eating 40 tablespoons of sugar a day. And it was really disgusting. This one point, he would, instead of actually putting the soy sauce at his little Chinese food restaurant meal, because he recognized that that's where the sugar is in that source, he literally took sugar cubes that would equate the same amount, crushed them up and poured it all over it and ate it, and you could see him just going. And you could just see, like,
instead of soy sauce,
instead of the soy sauce,
put
right?
straight
Just
sugar.
put straight tablespoon of sugar on there.
I like soy sauce, and I didn't know. I realized. I guess there's a lot of sugar in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you can
barbecue sauce.
Use coconut aminos instead on that soy sauce, so that you can. That's what we got to help people find those things, and sometimes they're hard to find in the grocery stores, and all those the things that make it easier if you have people that can help you navigate. Okay, where do you find this? How do you find this? Where's it going to be at? So all the different stores put it in different places. Also, just go back to that My MacroFix program that you mentioned that we do. And so we have several people who've been on that program who started their detox yesterday. And we went in and we changed their macros for the detox, because you don't get nearly as many carbohydrates from, you got to eat cups and cups and cups of vegetables to get the carbohydrate content that you would get if you're eating, pasta and breads and things like that. So you get, 30 grams of carbohydrate, and, you can bang that out in 2 slices of bread really quick. Whereas if you're eating, Brussels sprouts, it's going to take you, 8 cups of Brussels sprouts. Like, it's going to.
It's like the whole mesh bag.
You could just have the whole thing, and so you have to change those macros to accommodate your diet and make sure that you're eating the right things. So if you're eating breads and pastas, I got to keep it limited. But I got to also be realistic. If you're going to be only eating vegetables, you're not going to get that many carbohydrates. So now we've got to make up for the calories somewhere. And that's where your avocado comes in. That's where your good healthy fats comes in, because they will stabilize your blood sugar and they will keep you full longer, so that you're not, because you're going to burn through those, 20 calories of the asparagus pretty quickly, even though you're like chomping away all day long.
Well, I think that, one of the things that we saw last week is that, people going through detox, there's still a lot of misnomer around, well, shouldn't my body be able to handle all these toxins that we're being exposed to every day? And, and I tell patients, and we told them at the class too, yes, I mean, your body is designed to handle those things. I think, though, we're at a point where the accumulation is so robust that we need a little extra help. And that's where the value of taking 21 days twice a year, we call it the 42-day-a-year wellness plan. So if you're not detoxing in the 21st century, you're missing a huge piece of your healthcare plan. And it will allow your body time to and you mentally to go back and refocus on letting the main thing be the main thing. That food is medicine, not pleasure. I know people don't like hearing that, but food can be very pleasurable, though. I mean, I had a stuffed bell pepper yesterday with avocado, and it was lovely. It was cabbage and carrots stuffed inside of a bell pepper with a little bit of avocado on the side with my Himalayan or my Australian Hawaiian salt, and I was as happy as a lark. And so I think that we just have we've been marketed to believe that food is supposed to taste a certain way, and therefore if it doesn't meet that criteria that we're told that it's supposed to meet, then we classify it as not real food. But we've been brainwashed, we've been duped, we've been tricked, and so we've got to re-educate and put new ideas that are old ideas back in, so that you can reapply those things to discover that, hey, this isn't actually too bad, and oh my, I actually feel pretty good. Unlike if you went right now, if we all sat down and just gobbled up some sugar cubes, we'd probably feel really good for about 15 minutes, and then we'd tip over and we'd be asleep, and you guys out in listener land
that,
would be,
or you would just,
what happened to them?
Either that, or you would just, we go get more, right? Because if you start to feel a little tired, you just go get more. That's what that's how most of us live is. Oh man, I'm tired. Well, I got to get up this morning. I'm starving. I'm gonna eat a blueberry muffin. They eat the blueberry muffin in there.
Don't forget the yogurt.
Crash. So then they crash.
Then they chase it down with yogurt right at the end.
Well, and then right after the yogurt, though, they have to go to the coffee, right? Because holy cow, I'm so tired. I can't even make it through my morning.
But they need to put sugar in the coffee.
Absolutely.
So I mean, before even 10 o'clock, they've already had 30 tablespoons of sugar.
That doesn't sound smart.
It doesn't sound like that's going to serve us.
Nothing your body really wants.
What's going to happen when you keep putting that onslaught of hidden sugar into your body day in and day out? Your organs are going to get surrounded with visceral fat. That organ fat displaces the organ's ability to maximize daily efficiency. So think of, if you didn't get, every day for the next month, if you had 10 things to do every day, and you only got 5 of them done, by the end of the month, how much would you have left over to do? Quite a bit, right?
Like 150 things.
Well, what if, what if it was worse? What if your system was so inflamed and so backlogged that now it can't get but 3 out of the 10 things done every day, right? And so a part of what detox is doing, it's allowing your body to catch up on all that old paperwork, so to speak, and allow your body to get rid of that excess waste. I remember we had a guy, Dr. Krebs, come in one year, and he taught a class with us, and he said something, and I still ponder on it. When you look in the mirror and you see yourself in your morning glory, you say, wow, I need to work on that, right? And what you're working on is what you ate yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. It's accumulation of the food choices you have made. So if you always used to say this to patients, you know, like, because there was that old saying that you become what, you know, or you are what you eat. And I said, no, you become what you eat. So if you want to become a sugar-filled lump of dough, eat sugar-filled lumps of dough, you know? And that's what you put in starts to take form in it's in your outward expression of appearance.
I could just hear everybody right now, like, he's taking all the fun out of it. Like, I want sugar-filled lumps of dough, and
I do too.
I want.
I do too.
I was reminded this devotional book that I'm reading. It's a C.S. Lewis devotional, and most of it's above my head because his writing style is a little on the high side. And so, but one of the little excerpts was about happiness and how, you know, surely God wants us to be happy. And then it's like, wait, if that's all he was worried about, like, he's not just worried about our pleasure, us having pleasure. That's not what all of life is about constant seeking pleasure. Some things he wants us to learn. He wants us to grow. He wants us to be better than we were the day before. And so if we take that aspect of it and realize that, hey, maybe there's something that he can teach me. Maybe there's something I can learn. Maybe there's some things that I don't quite have, that I just don't get. That pleasure is not the only thing to life, that serving people. And that the really interesting thing is that when you are well, and when you are making hard choices, and when you are trustworthy and you have good character towards yourself and your fellow man, you actually turn out to be happier in the end, right? So here we are. We think we're avoiding this pleasure over here, thinking that we're doing something that, you know, man, we shouldn't have to do that, only to realize that on the other side that there are pleasures that are maybe more. Like, what do you want more? One of the posts this week in the detox group was, you know, I kind of just really want Chick-fil-A, right?
Right.
She said, I want Chick-fil-A. And so one of our detox coaches replied with, but what do you want more? What do you want more? You know, you can have that momentary pleasure of the Chick-fil-A today and break your commitment to yourself, or you want to walk out that commitment and see what God can do, how he can change you, what you might be able to learn through this process about yourself and about food and about how you're feeling. And maybe if we just put a little bit of effort in, we just put this commitment. I mean, 3 weeks, I remember, you know, you always talk about, I could do anything for a short time, right? A lot of things we can do for a short time. We don't have to do detox every day for the rest of our lives, 365 days a year. We can just do detox 42 days a year. We don't have to do this every day. We can, but I'll tell you what, people that do the detox for 21 days, they make better decisions for 3 to 6 months.
All day. And that's one of the things that really helped me start seeing how powerful it was clinically to have people do 42 days a year, because to your point, to think there's no end in sight, they quit. They can't wrap their head around that. But to do 2 focused, intentional 21-day runs, they naturally build in. It's almost like a keystone habit. It triggers off all these different pathways for you to keep making healthier decisions for a month. That's what I saw the first time, right? It was like I had a month of good habits. I didn't want to change for a month after my first detox. And then, day 31, day 32, I kind of made a few changes. Kind of resorting back to some faster food and convenient foods. And, I was still eating healthy, but it was doused in, the sugar-laden soy sauces and barbecue sauces and whatnot. But what I've, learned is that as I've continued to do the 21-day, I noticed that 1 month turned into 2 months, turned into 3 months, turned into, man, every time I eat that, that food, I always notice I get these ugly symptoms afterwards. And it became more clear what foods were my friend and what foods were hurting me, And so I started going, wait a sec, I got to teach a class in 2 days. I've got a full loaded day of patients. I don't know if I've got time.
What do I want more, right?
To feel bad.
What do I want more? I want to feel good when I'm teaching that class. I want to have energy when they get to the weekend and not be collapsed for the weekend.
And I think that's the same thing. I have patients with skin disorders that come in, and they will eat clean all week long, and then on the weekends they fall off the wagon. Monday, Tuesday, they're recovering. They have flare-ups on the front end of the week, and it's aggravating to them. They think, "Oh, it's not working. It's not working." No, it's working when you're working it. It's that you got to work it long enough so that your body can get underneath some of those other layers and pockets of trash and pus and fungus and bacterias that are constantly excreting their waste all over you. Right? As gross as that sounds, I hope that you get it. Like, those bugs are taking residence in your temple, and they are painting the walls, so to speak, with what they want to paint the walls with. They are redecorating. The problem is the outward signs and symptoms is brain fog. The outward signs and symptoms is headache. The outward signs and symptoms is a skin rash. The outward signs and symptoms is that you can't get through your day without having the sugar fix or the caffeine fix, or you can't get to the end of your day without your ankles being so swollen that you can't see your toes. That these are real situations that tell you something, and then you feel better in the morning. Why is that? Because your liver was able to detox during the night and clean up some of that residue from yesterday. What happens, though, when you can't get out of bed in the morning? What happens whenever you are tossing and turning all night long? What happens when you're burning hot during the night? What happens when you're kicking those covers off because you're in a puddle of sweat? That is an indicator that your liver is really struggling to keep up with whatever backlog it has. I'm telling you, if we can just grab these little concepts and appreciate that the body's talking, the body's like trying to get a message across, so that you can say, what do I want right now? Do I want to fix that, or am I going to chalk that up to I'm getting old? Or am I going to chalk that up to something I can fix? And so I want you to say, all right, check engine light, something I need to fix, something I need to address, and now what do I need to do? And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, every month we teach classes. We have these macrofix classes. We have our normal educational classes. We have our clinic time that we spend time with patients one-on-one. We have the radio show. We are constantly doing outreach to help you see, like, oh, there is my nugget. It's my responsibility. It's my health. It's my choice to feel better, live better, and be better. Now, how do I do it? Let us teach you. Detox is a powerful tool. Can a kid do it?
Absolutely, a kid can do it. I think that's one other thing that we sometimes forget. A lot of times when we think detox, most people are looking for weight loss, right? And that's great, and that's what most Americans need. But that's not every American. We've got we've got teenage boys who are still skinny and scrawny, and they need to put on muscle mass. And so if you want to put on muscle mass, the detox is an option for you. We might have to adapt it and adjust it and change it a little bit for you, but anybody needs to support their body. There's nothing, the detox food will not hurt anybody. It can only help everybody. And you go, everybody? Which people? Sick people? Yeah, sick people. You're talking about people that need to work out. They can eat detox food and get better. We can have people that are maybe pregnant or nursing. They can do the detox food. It's all just going back to eating real food. I think that's one of the things that's so crazy is that we create this diet.
Detox
we create
diet.
this diet, and all it is hey, you
it's
just eat real food.
That's all
just
it is.
Just eat things that grow, and then in certain cases, so like I had a patient reach out to me and she said, hey, is detox a really good idea? I've been losing weight. Like, yeah, we're just going to change the protein for you. We're going to load up your protein shake. We're going to load some things up differently. And because if your system's running clean, it'll be able to build muscle better. And, an adult female, as much as we like skinny people, like 96 pounds is it's not enough, right? Not enough for a 5'4" gal, right? So we want to, especially somebody that's athletic and wants to does
stay
coaching and stay that way, and so they need to gain weight. So their detox will be different, and probably this is somebody who needs to learn how to eat more real food instead of less food. So often we try to keep the bad foods out, and we forget how much real food it takes. Yesterday, I was honestly quite astonished. I was like, I thought I was I ate meals every 2 or 3 hours. And I put them into my MacroFix program. I was like, 1,100 calories. That's not, we're going to have one more shake before we go to bed, because those calories just don't add up when you're not eating the animal proteins.
Yeah, and or breads or whatever other people get into. There has to be a source of extra nutrients coming in, and it helps you kind of appreciate, again, how valuable food is. So we want people to really grab hold that, we love all kinds of different diets. Like, we teach people Whole30 diets. We take people down the keto diet. We take people into, vegetarian diets, and we will help them for a season, understand where that value is. But then we want people to grasp the balance of just eating food, because we don't want to create so much extremism that that we stress out our microflora in our gut. Like, we have to make sure that we're putting in all kinds of different, nutrients and varieties of nutrients from real food sources, not these packaged foods, not these hidden sugar-laden foods, not these liquid, sugar foods that people get into, but real food that people can reach for regularly to get the amino acids they need, to get the carb load, the carbs they need, the vitamins, the minerals, the essential fats they need. And that's why we look at blood work so much. We look at blood work, we look at testing to figure out where people's deficiencies are, or where their inflammation is, or what systems are under attack, or what the immune system's going through right now. And so
blood work's just one more check engine light for us, right?
And it really doesn't lie. It doesn't. I mean, I hate to say that it doesn't tell you obvious truths. Like, people want to see, well, do I have an oak tree? Do I have a palm tree? What's going on? A lot of times it takes our input to see where the glitches are, because there's functional issues that show up that aren't pathological. They're what we call the weeds, the seedlings. And yes, that's a seedling that's going to turn into a big oak tree down the road if we don't address it today. And that's why we always talk about when's the best time to plant an oak tree.
Long time ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. But the detox allows us to start today in cleaning the house, cleaning the beds, and getting that soil tilled up so that it's ready for new growth, new nutrients. And we're going to put in some good seed for good health so that you can live well, be well, stay well every day, every month, every year for your lifespan. And that's longevity. That's vitality. That's the Vim, Vigor, and Vip that we want people to experience. And it really is simple. I mean, when you talk of it like that, it might not be always easy because you got a busy schedule, but a lot of people are still working from home right now. This is take advantage of that.
Right.
If you're not having to, be away from the kitchen, you could easily have food in your refrigerator that is cleanse friendly. Add the subs, make it detox friendly, then come to a community event at Butlers Courtyard tonight, so we can love on you a little bit, educate you a little bit, inspire you a little bit to take your health by the horns and wrestle that thing, get it under control, so that you ride off into the sunset feeling alive, feeling vibrant, and it can happen no matter what your disease is, your condition is, no matter what your constitution is. And of course, some of the extreme people that are out there that go through detox and have challenges, guess who's there? We're right there. Our doors are wide open. 6 days a week we have people that are available to talk this stuff out with, because it's so obvious that people need help. It's so obvious that people need new insights and new education. And we know that things pop up. There's layers and layers and layers. I even have layers of stuff. I just got my blood work back, and I'm happy to see several changes going on in my body right now. My inflammatory markers went down, but interestingly, my white blood cell, my immune system numbers dropped lower than I've ever seen them drop. And I'm like, oh, my body may have just found a nest, a pocket of trash, an infectious bundle. And it's going to go in there and unravel it. But it's taking up a lot of energy immunologically. So guess what I need to be doing a better job of? Supplementing immunologically. So I can leverage that blood work to see where that glitch is. But I can be thankful that my inflammatory fire that I had last 6 weeks ago is gone completely. I'm better. I'm superior right? From that perspective, but I have work to do in this department. And you can go, man, I'm not perfect. Well, I live west of Eden. That's going to be the case. There's always something to work on. But I get excited because at least I can see in my report card that things shifted the way in an overall improvement, but still shows that I still got work to do. And so, yeah, there is always work to do, and you get to enroll yourself, choose how much of that work you want to do. But in that quest, you're going to notice, too, how good you feel, how you experience life day in and day out. And I just can't wait to see, even how I feel right now. I'm very just kind of laser focused on how my body feels. I'm stable. I don't feel like a up. I don't feel like a down. I'm just like boom, just in the zone. And I like being right here. I like how my mind is firing and thinking, and I have so many things we want to share. There's just only so much time.
Well, we love detox only because of how we see it change people, right? And we see it change, and we get to see, I think sometimes when you're looking at only yourself, we have just this terrible tendency to focus on the thing that didn't get better. I got 15 symptom patterns, and 12 of them got better and 3 of them didn't. And we have this terrible tendency to focus on the bad. Why don't we focus? Why don't we meditate on what is good, what is praiseworthy, what is true, what is noble, what is just? Why don't we look at the things that we have done, that we are able to accomplish through these little seasons of detox and these little reset? And so I think that focusing on what we are able to do, focusing on how we can make change, and letting kind of God sort out the rest makes it so much easier to appreciate that, hey, I'm doing my part. God's going to work through the rest, and we're going to get through these 21 days of detox together. And I think that's really the most fun part. This is my favorite detox of the year, is this one, because we get to do it together.
Yeah, the community is everything.
It is.
Really
For
is.
us, we thrive. When we walk into that room tonight at Butlers Courtyard, we're going to be on fire. We're just excited to see the people and just to be encouraged. Last week when we started our detox, we split everybody into groups, and we put all the kids and teens in one group. That was the biggest group. That gets me fired up. When we think about these kids that are going to learn and they're not going to eat perfect every day for the rest of their lives, but that they'll know how to eat when they need to get themselves out of trouble, when they need a reset, that they'll know what it feels like to reset.
They'll go back to food.
They'll go back to
food. And they'll go, you know what, there is things that I can control. I remember, whenever I did detox, there was a few of the kids that had done it 3 and 4 times. And I was just impressed that, one, we have parents that care enough to get their kids enrolled.
Yeah.
And we've even had to evolve and say, all right, how are we going to make this work for kids if kids are going to do it? Because it is even in our tendency to make it easier on them. But no. This is a life lesson thing. And so by giving that gift of choice to our kids, but providing an environment for them to thrive in and to be successful in, helps them set keystone habits for the future, so that things that we and you are developing and have dealt with in your 30s and 40s, maybe they can avoid or abstain from.
Or at least push it off another 10 or 20, 30 years, back when it used to be.
That's right.
With all those diseases of old age, let's throw them back into old age, but let's stop calling 30, 40, and 50 old age, because that's not it. That we need
Gives
to be
us nothing
thinking
to look forward to,
80,
Gardy.
90, 100 before we're starting to see that all those things happen.
I was about to say something, but then I decided not to.
The frontal lobes.
It did.
Working for you today.
Me,
it's
very
unusual.
focused. Very focused. I'm being nice. I'm being nice.
Are you?
I am.
Are you?
So I'm just gonna keep talking to Gardy for a second.
Well, all I'm just gonna say is this girl right here has never been more excited about an upcoming birthday, and I've got 9 months.
All right.
I've got 9 months till I hit that 50 mark, and I am so excited. I am ready and prepared. We're getting ready for the second half, and one of the things that I'm so excited about is my goal that I set for the year. So I set this goal on my 49th birthday to read 50 books before I turn 50. So 50 books in my 50th year, and I just finished book 11, so I am well on my way and having a blast.
So you have 9 months to read 39 more books?
Correct.
Awesome.
One a week, and so I'm having a blast doing that.
Well, I think that is another part. I mean, those are mental vitamins. I always love the idea. I stand by my table with a bucket of words and formulate those words to inspire and light people up day in and day out. And I think the things we read is absolutely a contributing factor to giving people, that next piece of information so they can be inspired. So we look forward to those coming to Detox tonight at 6:30 p.m. at Butlers Courtyard. We want you to know that all is welcome. Like I said, we have a promotion if you come to the next 3 events. If you've already come to last week and you come to the next 3 events, there's a better promotion to help us support Anchor Point's Hope House here in League City, Texas, as well as if you come to 2 of our classes in-house, you get access to our Macrofix program for a 30-day trial. We're excited to give that opportunity to people so that they can then transition off detox in a way to still see how food is yet another key environmental piece to keep the results of your detox moving forward. And we want this to be a lifelong journey that you're always reaching to foods that serve you, not foods that hurt you. So live well, be well, folks, and we look forward to seeing you at class tonight, 6:30 p.m., and we'll talk to you again next week, more about detox.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.